I'm glad we're recording the audio of this at least.
Okay, it's recording now.
Oh, okay.
All right, so welcome to the Destiny.
I refuse.
Welcome to the Destiny community after hours.
You know what?
Pope is fired from doing the intro.
Yeah, Pope's fired from doing it. He sucks at it.
I think we're starting a new podcast. Everybody should attempt their own version of an intro, and we'll just see who people like.
Okay, I like
a
that.
popularity contest.
I'm just saying,
it's like everyone's high school nightmare back again.
This is it. We're voting who gets voted off the island tonight. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun.
Okay, so the problem with
so
that
we're gonna
is
start
if
with,
we're
I think Holt should go
we're-
first since he intros.
Absolutely.
DCP.
Well, exactly. I'm getting to that. If we were supposed
You're
to
first.
all do a little fake intro here, we need to actually have a name for
it's
this.
the real. It's the real intro, and part of it is the creativity you come up with.
Right.
So, get started, Holtz man.
Yeah, do it.
Put me on the spot like that.
Well, you're
You
the
literally
you're the pro
asked for
at
it.
this.
Yeah, you
you're
asked
the
for
pro. You said
On the pre-roll show, yes, I did ask for this. You are right.
all right, Patrick, go. Your mic's hot.
Hello, welcome to the official Magic the Gathering podcast. This week we are discussing Masters 25 set coming out on March 16th. Some great reprints in this set. Really looking forward to it.
I got goosebumps.
And see, the great thing is, I don't even have to have Skype pulled up. I already saw my co-host eyes just glaze over, and they're just completely uninterested.
You felt
That
it
is
in the
accurate.
force.
All right. Well, that was a great attempt. So, if obviously at the end of this, we're going to want to hear from your comments. Which one you like. That was Patrick's entry. Watts, you're up next.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast that has no name. Because just like our podcasts and our conversations, we have no direction, and we don't know what we're doing. But just like Game of Thrones, we will manage to rise again and be the girl that has no
Lannisters.
name and be victorious. No spoilers.
The Lannisters will always send their regards.
I'm gonna
Hey, they're
vote for
dads.
Watt
A
so far.
Lannister.
Watts has got my vote.
That's
Man,
All right,
that was
Briar,
Before you even hear every single.
hey, you know what?
Damn.
There's no rules here. Briar,
great.
we're creating the rules. This is a brand new show.
yeah, the podcast has no rules because it has no name.
No rules.
And they got no name.
Has no name.
No rules, no name, no direction.
Why are all the Game of Thrones reference? Okay, Briar, you're up.
Welcome to the Drinks and Snakes podcast, where we don't talk about Destiny, we talk about all the other stuff that's going on. Thank you to our Patreons, and I don't know what else to say because I didn't prepare anything for this. So let's just jump into it.
Your mind's
All
on
right.
on Twitter questions.
No, that's
You are.
Pope dropped
we need you
on
to be
me
consumed
like 10 minutes before the
by
show
Twitter
started.
questions.
Oh,
You
get
know
together
what?
all the Twitter questions for the show.
I hear a lot
Like,
of complaining, and one of the tasks of being the intro person is being able to think on your feet. So, Tefty, you're up.
I'm still voting for Watts.
Yeah, Watts laid a really high ground right there.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think what else I could do here because that was
All right,
top notch.
just go for it. Go from your
right.
from your gut. What do you got?
What is going on, guys? Welcome to DCP Raw and Uncut, where we get to meander even further beyond what we already meander in the regular DCP podcast. Thanks for joining us. And now let's talk about Magic cards, Holtz.
This is supposed to be uncut. I'm
Man,
out.
you're doing so well, Tafty. And then just
Tefty's going to slowly go down the magic hole again.
I, for one-
Unbelievable. It was like, oh, yeah, building up, and then bam, stop.
I, for one, welcome the Magic the Gathering talk because, like, a couple weeks ago, Tefty, you just betrayed me during the podcast.
How so?
Well, not really betrayed. You let it be known the amount of deceit that you have been sowing for at least a year. It's probably a little bit over
deceit.
that, where you're like,
Can you
oh yeah,
trust
Magic the
Tefty
Gathering.
now?
Oh yeah, I secretly
trust
played
him.
it and loved it.
All right.
Brand
That was
Marabella
not-
basically asked
that
you
was-
to do a podcast about Magic the Gathering
Yes.
on IGN.
Okay.
And you have
And
not
you've-
followed up whatsoever.
Not at what.
To
on
be
the other
fair,
hand, we
You just
have
turned this one into a
discouraged
Magic
this behavior
podcast.
as much as possible.
Yeah, you have all the pathways in front of you, Holtz. You just are not walking them.
It's
Okay.
crazy.
To be fair, I did ask Fran about that, like on the podcast. I'm the one that prompted this
Whatever.
discussion.
So
Okay.
when's the Magic podcast?
It's happening right now.
Welcome to the first episode.
Yeah, this
All right, let's
podcast
hear
is actually going to be
Pope Bear's
hosted on IGN.
All right. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the
It's
DCP Off Topic Podcast.
We don't
I'm
have a
your
name.
host, Pope Bear. joined by Miss 5,000 Watts, Tefty Teft,
Hello.
Briar, and the other guy. So, welcome. Tonight we're going to get into everything not Destiny. Looking forward to what you guys have to offer. Let's get right into it.
This week in Magic the Gathering.
You guys ever have a pen that you really like and you know it's not?
I feel like it was strong, Pope, but
Yeah.
when you didn't even mention Holtz's name, that's when
Right.
you sold it.
I'm honestly voting for Watts, but it's all good. My votes. I'm not even voting for myself. I'm voting for Watts. But here, I'll tell you what. In the comments, make sure to let us know what you think. You're going to help us drive this podcast and.
Real question.
fucking
Real
name.
question.
Backseat game, our podcast.
Real question.
Totally okay.
Where's the comments for this podcast?
How do we find the comments?
They're in two places.
Who played? Okay.
One is through the Patreon,
Okay, nice.
and then the second is through Twitter.
Ooh.
So we don't have to look at YouTube comments. That's
no
great.
YouTube. Wow.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
YouTube
Yay.
comments.
Wait, I thought it was going up on YouTube.
It is.
We won't listen to those comments.
people-
if you're
peop-
commenting on YouTube,
If you
Oh,
want to,
Christ.
if you want us to talk to you, find us on Twitter or on Patreon or that way. We don't really even look at the YouTube comments. Those are toxic
mean.
and accessible.
unless you guys start
of
being
hell.
really nice, then
Oh,
We'll go back
I
to
read them
looking at
every
YouTube.
week.
Oh, you do.
Okay, Patrick
Yeah.
reads them.
Why do you think I'm angry all the
That's
time?
that's
There
why
is,
he
there
has
is a
a
reason
heart
why
of
you are the way you
cold
are. Yeah.
stone.
Source of anger. We found it. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Honestly, my source of anger right now is this pen. Like, this is one of my favorite pens. I know it's not out of ink. I haven't used it that much, and it's a very precise.
You gotta suck on it to get the ink
Lick
to
it.
come
Yeah,
through.
you gotta lick it. You do have to lick
I
it.
was licking it earlier. It
No,
didn't do
don't
anything.
lick it like hard. Like you gotta lick
Yeah,
it
you just, like-
soft.
I tapped it on
the
my
tip
tongue.
of it.
Just a
you
little-
just gotta lick the tip and then suck.
And you don't want to pay. You don't want to play
Cards Against Humanity.
Cards Against
right?
Humanity. Is that what you're saying to me right now, Pope?
Unbelievable.
We're talking about a pen. What are you talking about here?
You never joined the
the
Pen
story.
15 Club?
It's
That's
only
what
your
casual
dirty
Pope
mind.
Bear is trying to sell me now.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
All I'm saying is that was we're talking about a pen. It's your
There's
mind.
racy topics in there.
Right. Too controversial. Too much skin. Put your
So-
thighs away, lady.
Before
Yo, I
we
want to
get-
talk to you guys about a game.
Wait.
okay.
Before we get too far into this, I want to say thank you very much to those people who are signed up to sponsor us through Patreon. Because of that patronage, we're able to produce this show. We're able to hire an audio editor and a video editor for this show and do an additional podcast every week. So even if you're listening to this for free, just like all our other content, it will all be free. We want to make sure that we thank the patrons that made it possible. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you
guys.
very much.
Yes,
Let's
thank
All
you.
right, so I've been playing this game called Hunt Showdown. Have you guys checked this thing out yet?
Heard about it.
I've
Seen
watched
some
the
streams.
link you
I've
sent
watched.
me.
Yeah,
It
I've watched some
is
stuff.
unbelievable. It's early access.
Really?
It's very early access. So like servers may crash at any point. You don't know if you're going to be able to finish the game that you're playing. Like it's that early access. But the concept and the gameplay behind it is so interesting. So you're in like early 1900s. I think it's Louisiana, kind of the swamps of Louisiana.
Nice.
So
Little catfish.
imagine
Bayou. It's a bayou.
Okay, imagine the
Is there a
Resident Evil.
difference?
Remember
I'm sorry,
Resident Evil? Was it
just-
Resident Evil 7 that just came out last
Yeah,
year?
yeah. That,
Yeah.
that's
Kind of
swamp.
imagine that kind of graphical style and like
Okay.
that kind of setting, but set in the early 1900s. Your weapons are all from the early 1900s. So you have like lever action rifles. You have single shot shotguns. You have revolvers that are single action. So you actually have to cock it between every shot. Brass knuckles, like that kind of stuff, man. It's like that kind of a weapon set.
So no
And
red
then you
dot
have
scope.
two forms of character progression. You have a player character progression, and you have a character progression. So you jump into a match, and there's, I believe, up to 10 teams or 10 people or some combination of that. I think it's up to 10 teams, so 20 people. Load into a match kind of PUBG style or Battleground style, that kind of a game. But there's PvE on that map as well. So there's zombies running around. And when you jump in, you also get a contract to kill like a boss. So like there's
Okay.
two right now. There's a butcher who's kind of like this big, bulky walk-in dude, and then there's this spider
and
who's
is there a
ultra
baker
powerful.
and a candlestick maker.
So you
There
you
should
get
be.
There should be.
you get the contract. You load in with your buddy. Right now, you can only play solo or with one friend, but they've said they're going to have squads in there up to 4 people.
Is there any matchmaking?
Yes, there is. And you get in there and you have to hunt down like the big baddie, right? Mm-hmm. There's clues that are kind of, like Batman, like detective vision, where you press a button and you kind of go into this like dark. It's kind of like that where you got to find your clues.
Mm-hmm. It's like The Witcher.
Yeah, and you roam around trying to find those clues, and eventually it tells you exactly where the big baddie is.
Okay.
The big baddie is in the same spot for all the teams. So all the teams, no matter where they spawn, are all kind of eventually getting to that area. It's kind of like the suck in PUBG or something, where like the blue wall is kind of operating.
They call that the suck?
Because everybody wants to get.
They call it the suck?
I call it the suck because it sucks.
Nobody calls it the suck.
calls it the suck.
The only suck I
call
know
it the
is,
energy field or the force field.
Is a Destiny related
The
topic,
kill
but
wall.
we're not going there.
So everybody's kind of making their way to the middle where this, this bad guy is.
Yeah.
But there's also PvP. So all the other hunters are trying to kill the other hunters, right? So there's this PvP dynamic as well as PvE.
That's awesome.
So for instance, if you want to kill a zombie, you might want to use your brass knuckles and do it silently instead of firing your gun and alerting all the other hunters in the area that where your location is, because everybody wants to kill other hunters.
Right.
It is early access, but brilliant. It's so fun. I highly recommend
I'm gonna
checking
check it
this game
out.
The boss locations, you might have said this, but is the boss locations randomly put on the map every time?
Yeah.
Okay, so the suck, just like in other Royale games, kind of goes towards the boss every time.
So there is no actual energy field. What's motivating people to get together is going after the boss and getting the bounty done for the boss. If you kill the boss, you have to basically, I can't remember the exact wording they use, but you have to basically extract his
essence
bits. Yeah.
Carve him?
Essence of
when
butcher?
you kill him,
you carve him for a gem?
Yeah. So when you kill him, you have to sit there and kind of wait for his essence to go away. I can't remember the terms they use.
You protect his body from other hunters?
Yeah, it's about a minute or two that you have to protect his body.
Like
and then after that happens, you can collect his parts and you have to extract from the map. There's only certain location you can extract from. So and once you get those parts, you're marked on the map for all the other hunters.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's like a multi-layer of various different games, and they just put it all into this one thing.
Right.
That's really cool. I'm going to try that.
I need to play it.
Yeah.
It sounds
We
like
need to play
it's
it.
really
sounds
fun.
like Red Dead mixed in with Left 4 Dead mixed in
And Division,
Division,
Battle Royale game.
aspects. Crazy.
Yeah, it's...
And then
That's
I don't know
cool.
if you guys saw it, but I posted a little clip. There's also there's voice chat in the game, but it's proximity chat. So if you're near an enemy team, you can hear the conversation they're having.
The best kind of chat. Proximity
Oh my God,
chat.
Is it
Amazing.
opt-in?
It's opt out.
Opt
Oh,
out.
that sounds really logical.
That doesn't sound
the best way to do it.
It's an incredible game. I highly recommend it. I can't wait till they get more stability for the servers because that's annoying. The load times to get into a
Can we play
match.
it together, Briar?
It's
I can play. I'll play with any one of you guys.
No,
but
it's only
doubles
two-player?
right now.
Is there any word of it being larger teams?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. There will be squads
I'm
some
sorry, I
point in
didn't
the
see that.
future.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
They didn't say how many though. Could we do
4,
6
I
man?
believe.
Oh,
Seems to be the
man.
number.
Yeah, four.
That sounds like a lot of fun, Briar. You sent me after our conversation on our main podcast. You sent me it was the proximity chat conversation.
Right.
You sent me an example of it, and I agree with you. For the record, I was being a devil's advocate on the other podcast, so I got a lot of heat for that. But
As you
anyway,
do.
Yeah.
as I do. But just so you know, I like the idea of proximity chat, and it exemplifies it. So if you haven't seen the video, check out Briar's Twitter, and he posted a video about it, and it's really cool because he's able to use their conversations. At one point they start talking about the record player. Oh, let's turn on this record player. He'll really creep him out. And it's so funny.
That's funny.
And then they're like, let's get this son of a bitch.
That's
And
awesome.
it adds to the moment.
Well,
Oh, totally.
you know what game did that for me was Friday the 13th Because if
Yeah.
you played
Yes.
Friday the 13th without
That
proximity
was
chat,
so good.
it was
without it was
it was a
total
different
different
game.
experience.
It didn't have
Yeah.
the same experience at all. And then when you played with proximity chat, it was incredible. It made that game happen.
Friday the 13th was so disappointing to me that the problems it had early on, it kind of they broke the experience for a lot of people and people just didn't stick with it. But when I played it with friends, I always had a awesome time. Like it was just so fun to jump in there with a bunch of friends and just, one person's Jason and doing all sorts of creepy stuff and everybody else is running around like chickens with their head cut off. Actually, once people got good at the game, it got a little more boring. Once everybody knew how to actually get out of there.
When they knew how to get out.
It suddenly became less fun.
That's how it is with games, When you first start playing, you have no idea what you're doing. Super fun. And then when you figure out what you're doing, it ends up getting less and less fun because now you're try-harding and you know what you're supposed to do. I find like the discovery part of games is the most fun part. When you're figuring out what's the best thing to use, what's the best strategy, like that's a good
really resisting driving this conversation back to Destiny right now. Destiny 2,
it's
it was like that with Fortnite, though, right? You jump into Fortnite, you don't know what you're doing, and then all of a sudden, you know what you're doing. Now you're like, okay, gotta become the best.
Yeah.
And then you start yelling at your friends, and friendships end, and it's all
Unbelievable.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that these other games that we've jumped into, like, I don't know, I'm really enjoying learning. I've been trying to learn how to use mouse and keyboard in Fortnite. And I really feel like that's the skill gap for me right now. I have the right, sense of mind of like if playing video games, you know positioning and shooters, how to line up and use the right gun for the right engagement, all these things, right?
You don't have the equivalent of thumb skill, though.
Correct, and that's the problem. And so when you go into a battle with somebody that's on a mouse and keyboard and has the programmed mouse, and they're building around you like a, they're boxing you in.
Insta fortress.
And you're like, okay. So that's the skill of building. And I'm really finding when I watch somebody playing Fortnite, the difference between watching somebody streaming Fortnite on PC versus console, it might as well be a different game.
It's
It
very
just might as
different.
well be like the pace, the strategies, everything is just completely different.
It is, yeah.
That being said, though, there's some amazing players. Like Annihilus, she uses the controller on PC. And
She on PC.
Yeah, she destroys.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it though. I really don't. Like, because the building
They play
of it,
more than you, Pope. It's called practice.
Ouch.
Practice will get you pretty far.
Ouch, are you saying I'm a casual? That really hurts.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, anybody else got a game that they're playing right now that
Monster
they want to
Hunter?
talk about?
We've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter.
Oh my God.
No, I really want to
But
hear.
Patrick did discover his new love yesterday, though.
I discovered
So-
my calling
I
in
have
Monster
some
Hunter.
serious questions
He-
for you
he-
guys because I have not played Monster Hunter, right?
There's monsters.
And
hunt them.
There's
You hunt
hunting.
them.
in the world.
Well,
there's a world.
there's a guy that I work with that is stupid addicted to Monster Hunter on like the
It
consoles,
happens.
and he's on the PS what it came out on
Oh,
a
the
bunch
Vita?
of different versions
Yeah.
before.
Originally, it was on PS2.
He played thousands and thousands of hours on all the previous versions, but he doesn't like consoles. He's PC Master Race, so he's waiting
Naturally.
for it to come out on PC. And he knows for a fact. He said the thing that he's going to do is he's going to keep his armor at 0 and only rank up his gun, his weapons.
That's basically what I did, actually.
Patrick did that without even trying.
So wait,
Yeah.
tell me this. Why that's is that like a feather in his hat?
Okay,
or like,
you know
is
how
that like-
Destiny, your armor
talk to
doesn't
me.
mean shit? Okay, exact opposite.
We're
Armor.
not allowed to talk about Destiny.
Oh, okay, well, we're going to because
All right.
that's the
It's
game
okay
that you
to
play the most. So I'm going
reference
to
Destiny. I know, I'm
to
just
relate
kidding.
to your casual nature, Pope. I'm going to use that as a baseline for everything.
Fair enough.
Okay, Destiny, your armor doesn't really mean shit. The only thing it does is increase your light level. Well, in Monster Hunter, you have hundreds of perks that determine, your resistance to different elements, your other different perks that can help you in battle, how you can do more damage, you can take more damage, you can have defense stat which keeps you from taking damage. So if you just keep your armor at the most basic level, you don't gain any of that benefit. You literally
Yeah.
just have your weapon and your wits. That's it. And
Weapon
that's-
and your wits, and you're evading. That's all,
And
that's all you
so
have.
he
that's
said he's
basically what
gonna.
it
He
is.
said he's only gonna rank up his weapon, and when he can no longer progress in the game and is getting one shot or one kills
Yes.
by like a tail whip, he said, is when he'll start considering.
That's what I did actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like
Same.
You were the naked hunter.
I was the
Well,
naked hunter.
basically.
Yeah, I was
You're
like,
almost.
I'm like, no pants, no problem. It's okay. I'm killing monsters. And it was up until
what we always say?
Nergigante where I had to actually start caring about
I
armor.
got
I think that's the wall for a lot of people. That's the first monster where you're like, oh,
I can't just
according
dodge
to-
out
he
everything.
hurts me.
Yeah, according to chat, it's like Anjanath, the big T-Rex, Diablos.
Pink
And-
Rathian people have a lot of
yeah,
problems
Rathian
with.
have-
I've heard that a lot.
Rathian as well, and then like Nergigante. Those are the like gear
So
check walls.
one of the
gear
things that
slash skill
he
check.
said that was interesting to me is that like there's been a lot.
This guy should get a podcast. He sounds fascinating.
Yeah, my God.
Well, I'm that's where I'm building. I had some really interesting questions off of him, and I really wanted to hear what you guys thought about it. So
Okay.
The game's
his
great.
point was, his point was that a lot of monsters didn't make it into from the previous versions. Why do
bringing
you
them
think
in.
that? Do you think that
So-
lessens the experience?
It's a very complete game right now, and what they're going to do is start adding monsters every other month into the system, and it's going to add new armor and weapons available with those
Yeah.
monsters. So it's really incredible. I mean, they got stuff that's in the legacy already. I think there's like 4 Elder Dragons that are already planned. They're going to be coming into the game, so it's going to evolve. And they're
Yeah.
I don't know if this is confirmed, but previous games have had a G rank. So right now we're in high rank.
Yes. Yeah.
So it starts out low rank, which is kind of like the tutorial, essentially for people who are not aware of the franchise. That's how it was told to me, and that's how it felt. And then once you get to high rank, things start mattering a bit more. And then once you get to the Elder Dragons, then you have to take your builds really serious. And supposedly G rank will be coming at some point. That will add a whole new level above that for your builds.
Okay.
So
That's exciting.
yeah, right? So as you can see, like the PvE grind aspect of Monster Hunter, once you get past the menus and some of the complexity that's in it, and it becomes second nature, it's like it opens up so much potential for builds. That's why it's popular right now.
The gameplay loop is one of the most satisfying I think I've ever played in any game. It's
Yeah.
always just
What does that
fight
mean?
monster.
Gameplay
Well,
loop.
it's you go and fight a monster, and then you get the materials from that monster to make a new weapon and new armor. So then you're fighting that same monster to get all the materials you need for that weapon and that armor, and then you level up and you unlock new monsters and harder monsters, and you unlock their armor and weapons. So you keep doing that same thing over and over again. It's always something to look forward to grind for, and then even when you make a weapon, you're like, oh, but I could make a build that does this. And then you want to go and do the same thing all over again. So it's
Yep.
kind of a never ending loop of getting
There's so
new
much
stuff.
depth to it too.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
like what is there? 14 weapon types.
Feels like
think it's
that.
14.
Yeah, 14.
14. So there's 14 weapon types, and they all take a lot of skill to master.
They
right?
do.
It's-
Yeah.
Like if you wanna start playing with a hammer, you'll be able to mess around with the hammer for within an hour and get it done. But it's going to take you a long time to really get good with it and make sure that you're hitting the strikes that do the most damage consistently and evading attacks, right? And then there's 13 other ones to get good at. So it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a solid 30 hours to actually feel like I mastered the bow. Just one weapon.
Yeah, 30 times 14. That's a lot of hours.
Yeah, there you go.
I basically
Now-
only played with the greatsword through the whole story, and the story takes you about 30 to 40 hours, depending on how much side quest stuff you do and all that. And 99% of it was using the greatsword, and I was like, man, this is so fun. And I got done with that, and then I switched to, I don't remember, maybe it was the switch axe, but I was like, this plays so different, and it was super awkward. And then I suddenly started getting the combos, and I was like, it just opens up so much potential. Then you start looking at the upgrade trees for just that other weapon. You're like, I want all these weapons. It's crazy.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
the things that I've been watching people streaming it quite a bit, and I just jealous because I don't have that time to play it to the point where I feel like I could play it.
There's a lot of time
but I
involved.
do enjoy watching it. And one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of people are using what looks like just pure damage weapons. They look like they're focusing on the max hit value.
Yeah.
And I feel like I ran into a guy's stream. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but he was focusing on like poison builds or
Yeah.
and it just feels like there's like a how much depth is there? There's there like kinetic
Okay,
build,
okay, Pope,
and then there's poison. Like, is there what kinds of? There's
Let,
like
let me
different-
Oh my
put it
God.
this way,
There's a
Pope.
lot.
With my bow, I can decide that I'm going to go for a just raw damage build. Just just firing the biggest arrows at a target and just chunking away health. Or I can go for a combo type build where I can get even more damage out, but in like very specific circumstances. Like where when I draw my bow out, I'll do even more damage. Or I can go for a coatings build where I'm trying to apply poisons or other type of status effects, like putting the monster to sleep, paralyzing it,
Rock and
Blast.
blast.
blast. Like there's a lot of other status effects that you can put on monsters. I can go
Wow.
for a build that's entirely focused around that with every single weapon. And then that's just with like one bow. That's just like one bow that I can do that. And then you can trade to other bows. You can there's like at least 15 versions of weapons at the final level.
Yeah.
And you can
That's
each one of those
so
will play
crazy.
completely different.
So
Well, then you also have like the thunder attacks and water attacks and dragon attacks and dragon seals and there's so many different status effects and then also
If you're a
elements.
casual
So-
player, can you figure all this out and enjoy it?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
This game does a really good job at teaching you,
They do,
actually.
yeah.
The other ones have been not as accessible. This one is the most accessible Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot of text that you have to go through, but they definitely give
lot of
you
reading.
the information. Yeah, a lot of reading. It's like, okay, the next page. But they explain it in a pretty good way.
Yeah.
The thing also is that once you've done all those builds, you can save them to an actual build. So
Yep.
when you want to go fight a specific monster that you've already made a build for,
Wait, is that available in game?
that is
Yes.
Yes.
in game, and they have literally pages.
You don't have to use a third party like app that somebody created.
Not at all.
Nope.
What?
Crazy, I know. It even goes so far as saving.
blowing my mind right now.
It saves all your like decorations that are like real end game type of stuff. It will save all that stuff to these builds.
Saves everything.
Yeah, so you can literally have like pages and pages and pages of builds. Like you could have a whole page of poison builds, have a whole page of bow builds, have a whole page of charge blades. It's honestly insane. Like I go about it by if I'm going to fight a particular monster, I'm like, what builds have I saved for that monster that I really enjoyed? Because I'm at the point now where if I fight Nergigante, I just really enjoy using a switch axe on him. It's just fun. If I fight Valhazak, I'm going to use a charge blade because he's big and lengthy. I can just constantly drop seds on him.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this game, the success of this game, because it's wildly popular in our region, in the West, right?
Yeah.
Where this game has always been popular
In the
like
East,
in the
yeah.
East.
Oh, yeah, it's been crazy.
But I'm hoping that this game's popularity kind of lets other developers say, okay, it's okay to have really deep systems
Yeah.
and be really hardcore. You know,
Yeah.
like that's okay. As long
a
as
good
we
point.
do make a great game, people are going to still enjoy it. You know, because I feel like so many times you get cool systems that are really shallow. You know,
Right.
BioShock Infinite reminds me of like something like that, where it's got some really cool stuff to it, but it's not that deep. Like you can't really customize all that much, you know?
Yeah, and like the level of customization, like you don't even have to do it to really complete the
Right.
game. You don't feel
Right.
pressured to at all. Well, you do if you're playing on like the absolute highest difficulty, but for the most part, the game.
It's also single player though, and this is a 4-player or up to 4-player co-op game, which is cool.
And then, you know, that kind of depth and that kind of challenge also, I think, plays a role. Also keeps people around in a game for a long time.
It keeps them around. Yeah.
Right?
That's
'Cause
why
you're
I love
constantly-
JRPGs. Because, like, they're not afraid to be like, it's hard, get good, get used to all the systems, master it, love the game.
Yeah.
That is the one
That's why
thing
I
that I
love-
do like about JRPGs. The other problem with
It's
them
everything
is
else that I don't like.
It's everything else. It's the convoluted menus where they're like, "Hey, this Excel spreadsheet that we're using to like keep track of all of our data for the game. Yeah, no, just put that in the game. That's the menu. That's great. No, that's perfect. I can read that.
It
I've been
is.
staring at it for 6 years. I know exactly what this means.
Yeah.
Fuck everyone else.
It definitely it could be intimidating to see all those menus, and especially like
Yeah.
the build tree.
Menus are intimidating.
Yeah, the build tree first is like, wait, what am I looking at here? And God forbid you look at all the ammo types for one of those bow guns, Because if you see that spreadsheet pop up, you'll be like, this is actually Excel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yesterday,
that leads nicely.
We were talking about how you start to kind of peter out of a lot of games. I was feeling that with Monster Hunter. I've been using the bow. Didn't really find another weapon that I liked. On a whim, we did some of the arena challenges, and I had to use the heavy bow gun. Couldn't use my old standard bow. And then I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I used it a little bit more. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then I figured out how to use it. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I want to make a heavy bow gun. I need to make a heavy bow gun. What do I need to do? Okay, I can make the Nergigante one I need one more fang from him. Okay, let's go. Killed him, made the heavy bow gun, and yeah, all of a sudden I'm a heavy bow gun main now with like a really solid set. And I'm just like, I wanna go, like, I'm basically wielding Fellwinter's Lie times infinity. With this gun.
You are using like the very close range. It's like he's using the shotgun version of the bow gun.
Every single spread shot will deal about 30 damage per pellet. There's about 6 to 8 pellets per each spread shot. And so if I get in that crit zone and just unload all that stuff, it feels good. Yeah, unload all the shots.
Nice.
I love playing with a heavy bow gun user.
We're talking about heavy bow guns.
Inappropriate.
Dial it back.
I don't even know.
I love just hearing the.
At the sake of sounding just like a purely Monster Hunter podcast, because that could be the name of the podcast if we want. The Monster Hunter.
It was suggested.
That was just coming out soon,
Maybe we could rename the podcast.
Well, you know what I wanted to talk about a little bit? I know Tefty's really excited about Vermintide 2 coming out. It's Warhammer Vermintide 2. I think it's going to be the first game that we do our Let's Play series at.
Sounds good.
Did we decide that? No.
Don't think so.
I thought we did.
No, we didn't.
It'd be a fun game.
You know what we did do? We did decide to put it on the list of patrons for the list that they would decide.
Oh.
See, we're going to put together a list of about
We don't
6.
have executive decision?
No, they do. So what we do is we put
I'd rather keep executive decision.
Well, you could always say no. But then
You can always dip out and we'll go do it.
We'll go do it. No, we're going to give a list of about 6, and then we'll vote, and then that will weigh heavily on our decision.
Oh, okay. Heavy
This was
consideration
decided?
for your feelings.
Yes, that was decided.
I must have missed the vote for this.
Yep. Well,
I'm really excited about Vermintide, though. That game looks dope. So if you're a fan of Left 4 Dead or Left 4 Dead 2, this is kind of like a game like that set in the Warhammer universe with like melee weapons and upgrades, and you can play with your friends. A
bunch of classes too.
A bunch of classes to customize. I can't wait for this game. It looks really good. I was reading about it a little bit in PC Gamer last month. I think it was their cover story. And man, just
it looks
so much customization.
Gory.
So what's that?
It looks pretty gory.
Yeah, it's like a medieval
Warhammer,
fantasy.
man.
I've never played Warhammer.
So medieval
Warhammer.
fantasy, zombie-ish type of level of guts and gore.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can deal with that. I'm just trying to put the picture in my mind. I've never looked at it before.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
In Left 4 Dead, did they have progression for your character? Like, would you upgrade your character in Left 4 Dead?
You would upgrade like what weapons you use throughout like that particular little campaign that you were doing, but then at the end of it,
it was for the whole
would reset.
campaign. But then once you're done, it reset.
No,
right?
no.
It reset.
Yeah, so on this, they actually have character progression that stays with you.
Okay.
You unlock
That's
different
cool.
stuff and also upgrade your weapons.
Okay, so more similar to something like Payday then.
I never played Payday, but yeah, I think
I
you're
never
right.
played Payday either.
Yeah.
Yeah, Payday 2, as much as I dislike the business practices of developers, is a really fun game. Go rob banks and whatnot. But yeah, you start out with, you got a pistol, you got a crappy rifle, and go rob this bank. Go rob this rob the jewelry
If your
store.
character dies during a mission, do you lose all the progress?
I've seen people die, and then I think they've still... Like, they didn't complete the mission. I think they still get XP. I think. I haven't played it yet. I'm excited to play it. I don't know if I want to play the beta because I think they're going to wipe the server. Although, they didn't confirm 100% whether or not they're going to wipe the server from the beta.
The full game comes out in like 5 days anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm itching.
Not long.
I'm itching, man.
Four-player co-op, a visceral melee combat, That's a good way of phrasing it.
But there's also like
Sounds like
guns in
Warhammer.
there. Like there's like medieval kind of guns, and then there's also magic and
15 careers, 5 heroes, a hero's deed system, improved loot system, talent trees, new enemies, new weapons, mod
sounds
support.
awesome.
It does sound
Mod
awesome.
support.
great.
I want to
The
play.
community,
support.
like the
Okay.
mod support's awesome. Like I love a game that from the get go says, "Hey, we want you to be involved in making this awesome."
Yeah, you got my ear now. Mod
Dedicated
support, I'll
server
make some maps.
functionality.
dedicated
Kathy?
servers. No,
Dedicated
That's
server
it. I'm done. I'm out of
functionality.
here. No, thank you.
And new locations, man. That looks
Peer-to-peer bus.
Sounds good,
Dude,
right?
I'm watching.
In this day and
I'm
age,
watching the
peer-to-peer
gameplay
is the only
review.
technology that makes sense for any video game. I'm sorry. That is it.
If the game's not on dial-up and gets disconnected every time,
If I can't get DDoSed and not access my whole internet
Why
for
play?
a day,
Why play, right?
it's part of the experience.
My God.
You guys want to do some questions?
Yeah,
I mean,
We got
yeah.
questions?
All right.
sure.
Throw
So
some questions.
we got questions.
one of the things that I wasn't really prepared for going into this is that people actually have their real names on Patreon. So I don't know that I want to read their real names. So I'm going to go
You
with
could
their
read their
initials.
first name.
Yeah.
Yeah, initials.
Yeah.
Actually. Let's go
Then
initials.
That'd be
Initials
safe.
is
That'd
good.
be safe right now, and I'll get their gamer tags in the
Maybe
future.
in the question you can leave your gamer tag or
Yeah,
leave
that's
your
a really
Twitter,
good-
whatever
that's a
you
really
want to
good
be.
thing. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it, right? If
Yeah.
you want your name read out, put it in the question itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so B says, which members of the crew know how to drive a manual transmission vehicle?
I do.
I mean,
I grew up in England, and I started doing my driving stuff in England, and they pretty much don't have automatic cars. I mean, there are, but the kind of default is
Interesting.
manual.
I went to England and Ireland for a 2-week trip, and we rented cars in both places. I got to say that Ireland is the most fun I've ever had in a car. It's like
It's pretty great there.
every road is like as narrow as your car and lined on both sides by rock walls with spikes.
Yeah,
and lots
No,
of barbed wire to keep you
It's
from going.
it's exhilarating. It's an
That
exhilarating
sounds like
experience.
some cutscenes or some things in like a Call of Duty game, where you're driving your car and there's
Right.
stuff shooting
Yeah.
around you.
Yeah,
And obviously, you're sitting on the wrong side of the car and driving on the wrong side of the road, adding to the fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Bonus round right there. Cool.
I learned how to drive. I grew up on a table grape vineyard, so we're just a vineyard, and my dad had me driving the truck that as the workers would throw the grape boxes up onto the truck and load it. I would drive 3 miles an hour in a truck down a straight road with blocks on the brake. And nothing for the gas pedal. It would just idle, and that's how fast it would go. And I could only reach the brake and the steering wheel. So that's how I learned how to drive.
Nice.
So I know how to
Nice.
stop really good.
I had a Dodge Neon that was like a hand-me-down.
That's a classic.
It is a classic. It was
Dodge
manual.
Neon. Is that a pickup? Is it a?
It's like a little car.
What is it?
It's a little
It's a
car.
little car.
it's
It was designed to have like a face and be like cute. I remember the advertising for that. It was like literally designed to be like a cute car.
Because it was a manual, I'd like peel that thing around the corner all the time. Be like, hitting the gas hard.
Oh yeah.
Nice. In your cute car.
In the cute car, yeah. It was even a thing that said slick on the side. It was my sister's car before, and then I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
yeah.
Jay-
I,
oh, I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
know how to drive a manual transmission. I don't know how to drive one well, but I know how.
Patrick's scared of driving, so
I have very few fears, but one of them is actually driving. So I
That's
don't.
fair.
I try not to. I try not to drive.
You know,
too much.
I feel like more people should be afraid of driving. There's literally
Probably.
it's pretty scary.
several ton vehicles going at death speeds down any street that you could be walking.
I'm confident in my driving ability. I'm not confident in everyone else's, and I also know how bad I am at driving. And if I know I'm like an average driver, holy shit, that means half the people driving around me are even worse than me.
It's scary.
And then I don't like other people.
So I had a '69 Karmann Ghia. Do you guys know what those are? It's like a Volkswagen Bug, but smaller.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of the poor man's Porsche. And I had that was my first car, and I got totaled in an accident. I was at a stoplight, and a guy hit me from behind without hitting his brakes. Didn't see me at 50 miles an hour. Put me in the hospital. They had to cut me out of the car. Yada yada yada. I was afraid to get back into a car, let alone drive one.
Yeah, sounds all right.
So
when I started, go.
Well, no. So I just thought I was paralyzed at that point because
Jesus.
but they had I couldn't move my arms and legs. It was a temporary paralysis. So anyway, I was scared out of my mind to get into a car again. So my mom and dad bought me. They went to the police auction and bought one of those decommissioned police cars that have all the bumper rails.
Yeah.
They weigh like
Nice.
2,000. You get like 2 miles to the gallon, but the thing is a tank.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got a Chevy Caprice is the car I got after that accident, and that helped me get back into driving again. But yeah, I could have fit
That's
my
scary.
Karmann Ghia in the trunk of that thing. That's how big it was.
When I started riding motorcycles, like you go to school to learn how to ride a motorcycle, and one of the things they taught us or told us was don't look at cars, look at faces, right? You don't look at the car, you look at the person driving it and see what they're doing or see what they're looking at. And it was amazing to me once I started doing that, how many people were completely fucking clueless as to what they were doing, right? Is like somebody pull up to a stop sign, never swivel their head left or right, they would just go.
Yeah.
Right? It was like so many people were looking down. I always thought that the legislation to ban cell phone use in cars was redundant because there's already laws in place for distracted driving. But once I saw how many people were staring down at their phones all the time,
It's scary.
it was
is
like,
scary.
oh my God. Like it changed the way I drive forever. And I drive much less aggressively than I used to. Just like looking at people's faces while they're driving is just,
I got
totally
hit.
different thing.
Yeah.
I got hit 5 times prior on a bicycle by cars,
Yeah.
and every one of
Jesus.
them.
Have you tried mountain biking?
Just get a
Less
little cute
cars.
bike with a little basket.
Every one of those
That might be the way to go.
cars, the person
Yeah.
didn't see me.
Yeah.
And I'm like wearing brightly colored, clothing, and the most often one was I was riding in the bike lane, and they would have to pass me in their car, right, and then turn right into the intersection
They
in front of
didn't
you,
see it?
and you just T-bone them, like
Jeez,
they
man.
actually physically have to pass you. And for you to match up at the same time at the intersection because you're going maybe 20 miles an hour on a bike.
But bikes go slow, Pope.
So I'm
Bikes
riding
go
my bike
slow.
in the bike lane, and they come up, and then just in front of me, they turn, and you just whack right into the door.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. You just passed me, bro. Why? How did you not know that?
What can you do to make people see you? Just that's crazy. There's
Wearing
no-
bright
yeah.
colors, like flashing lights, and there's still people still don't see.
Maybe
you.
she just have a jingle playing the whole time.
Yes, the loud pipes theory. That
Get the ice cream like speaker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make everybody hungry for
But
ice
then
cream.
people might follow you because they think you have something
That was a
delicious.
good
Yeah.
question.
JM says, what's your favorite classic game and any specific memories you have playing it?
What's a classic game? Does it have to just be old or does it have to be good? Old and good.
Classic feels
For me,
good.
it's gonna be
old.
For me, it's going to be Kid Icarus.
Oof. Okay, so that means it has to be old but not good.
Oh,
I love that game. Actually.
you're lucky you don't live in the same town as me, Briar. Otherwise, I'd come
Dude,
to your
that-
house right now.
that was
Kid
my
Icarus is a
jam.
bad game.
It was.
It actually was a really bad game.
No,
it's terrible.
Oh no, it
I had
wasn't.
great memories of that game. I love
That's
it.
because you were a kid and you didn't know any better.
But you know what?
Okay, I was a kid and I was playing with
I was
my brother,
entertained.
and I loved it.
It was difficult, and I felt like when I achieved something, I was like, yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Tefty. You and I are right there. Best game ever.
A fond memory, though, was probably beating Super Mario World and unlocking. Like, I felt like there was I don't remember exactly how it worked because it was a long time ago, but you unlocked like a different colored version of the game. Do you remember this?
No.
In what?
In Super Mario
Super
World?
Mario.
Oh yeah.
For the Super
yeah.
Nintendo?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, when you completed everything, you got like the 100%
Yeah.
completion. It unlocked like a alternate universe thing, but it was just the same game. Like At least that's how I recall it in my mind. I haven't.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was.
I don't
a fun
think I
memory.
ever completed it 100%.
I think for me, it's got to be Aladdin
Genesis
The
or Super
Aladdin-
Nintendo?
on the Genesis. The Aladdin where it plays the same music over and over again, but the music's great.
The music
But
is really good.
the Disney games was so hard. They were not made for children. I was a child. It was hard. But Aladdin and Lion King and Little Mermaid was terrifying.
You're afraid of water, so
Yeah, but this was before I was afraid of video game water. This
Maybe
was
this is what
part
caused
of
it.
the problem.
This
It's part
is-
of the problem. Sonic was the one that really caused it, though. When you go into water and you're slowly dying,
yeah.
Oh,
the
that-
music,
that music-
makes
that
me
music is
panic.
terrifying.
It makes me so anxious. So now
I'm afraid of
just
donkeys
scared.
now because of Pinocchio. I mean, I,
I thought
swear
you were
to
gonna
God.
say Donkey Kong. I was like,
Yeah, I know. I was gonna, yeah.
I don't think that's
No, Pinocchio scared the living.
afraid of-
You know when they go to the island of kids that steal stuff?
Yeah.
Going to do a
Yeah.
jackass.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
That petrified me.
Dude, there's some
We went-
crazy
we went
stuff
as
in
an-
those stories.
We went as an elementary school to that, and all the seats were filled up, and I got the front row seat. So this is like first time seeing it. I'm sitting it right front row, and I was scared to death that if I lied, I would,
That's the whole reason they made the movie.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
I'm glad it worked.
there's a lot of things like that in Disneyland. And like, if you've been to Disneyland and rode Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, that will mess you up as a kid. You get hit by a train and go to hell, and then the devil judges you and puts you in
Yes.
hell prison.
he does.
That sounds amazing.
I mean, like my niece.
That's fun.
I remember seeing my niece going like. Like I turn around, we were having a great time. I turn around and see my niece going, "Yeah, stop it! This is awful." She was like,
That does sound pretty awful for a child.
Isn't that the original concept behind like these like grim fairy tales? Like the idea of, not cartoons in essence, but the original version of them. Yeah,
It's
in
really
Germany,
bad.
the Grimm's fairy tales were to scare the crap out of kids to
From doing
not
dumb
do
things.
stuff like eating mushrooms and going into the forest on your own and
Yeah.
all these things that they didn't want you doing.
Yeah, they wanted to
had
stop you
these-
from expanding your mind, man.
Yeah, because the majority of mushrooms out there will, but sure.
Yeah, if you look at the true story of the Disney movies, the actual endings, it's always terrible.
Yeah.
It's always
yeah.
The
They're
term
horrible.
the term fairy tale ending only started really with Disney, because
"Yeah,
the rest of the
previously
endings were
fairy tale
not.
ending usually meant everyone ended up in a worse state.
Everyone dies.
Oh, the Brothers
Everyone
Grimm fairy
died.
tales are all horrifying.
Oh yeah,
Like every one of them.
Dude,
I
the-
can't
the-
believe you tell children these things.
The one where they go to the gingerbread house, or what's
yeah,
what's
it's a
Hansel
witch
and
who
Gretel?
wants to eat them." Yeah,
Yeah. mhm.
Oh my
Hansel and
God!
Gretel.
Is that the one where you get cooked in a pie? Or is it,
pretty sure something like that.
I'm pretty,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
mhm.
Oh man,
What's
I
the
remember
lesson in that story? Don't go to grandma's
Well,
house.
Don't go to-
trust people.
don't
Don't
go to
trust like
grandma's
random
house.
people that you meet in the forest
just
that
don't
offer
trust
you
people.
food.
Grandma's
Just don't
gonna
trust
eat
people.
you. Grandma hungry.
Grandma made all these sweets. Come on in, children.
Little Red Riding Hood, I mean,
There are wolves.
once again, you're afraid of your grandma.
That's true. So we have discovered an ulterior motive here.
Yeah. Whoever wrote these things hated their grandmother.
Damn, Grimm brothers.
Yeah. She must have been a real.
Wolf.
CA says, what keyboards does everyone use on their PCs? Currently rocking a Black Widow Chroma super clicky version. And I love it. But looking forward to something more compact.
Then if you like that version, you can get the Black Widow Tournament Edition with the
That's what I
exact same
have.
keys.
It's smaller.
because that's what I have too.
It's smaller. It's a little. You can also, with the tournament edition, you can just unplug it and just carry it around.
Oh, that's nice.
Because it's supposed to be made to where
can't
pro players, if they're going to a tournament or whatever, they can take it with them and just easily plug it and unplug
Yeah.
it.
Cool.
I use Black Widow Chroma Orange switches. I used to have
I love
greens.
that switch.
Yeah, I
guys
used to
are
have
such
greens,
nerds.
and they are so clicky.
They are very loud.
They're very
Watts likes the
I
greens.
realized if I was going to play more PC games that I was going to have to like do something about it because my mic was picking it up, and I'm very. Anytime I hear stuff like that post stream, then like it makes
Yeah.
me go.
I hate it.
Those are the things that make me go crazy a little bit. Yeah. So I ended up going with oranges, and so far I've loved them.
Oranges are the same as Cherry MX Browns, or similar. And Logitech, which is my favorite keyboard, makes I think it's called the Roamer G switch,
Ooh, nice.
which is
Yeah.
very similar. Where it's what those switches have is you could feel kind of a bump when the actual switch activates, but it doesn't make that audible click when it happens. So they call it a silent switch. It's not actually silent. It's the switch itself is silent, but the keyboard still makes noise when the key hits stuff.
1 second, I think I have one of those.
But it feels like a super clicky keyboard, but it doesn't have that super clicky sound.
Yeah.
Which is nice. They're my favorite so far. The brown or the Razor Orange.
I still have the default one that came with my computer.
What is it?
It's an Asus.
Let's see it. Put it up to the camera.
It's got like a little dial on it that does spin stuff. Here.
Whoa.
And
Whoa.
Spinny dial there.
it says,
Yeah,
That looks
so
like a
spinny.
membrane keyboard, my friend.
Yeah.
what is
It does. It definitely looks membrane.
Yeah, that's the one I'm using right now.
It's so tiny.
Oh, what Patrick
compact?
put up?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pro. Yeah, I like that quite a bit.
Pro.
Yeah.
It's a really solid
Well,
keyboard.
Logitech, if you wanna like give us a call.
I love their
I
mouse.
also really like having the 10 keyless keyboards because my desk is filled with shit and I literally have 2 keyboards sitting here. One for my streaming PC, one for the gaming PC. I have 2 mice. I have a mouse pad, obviously.
Do you want that keyboard? Do you want?
I would love a
Okay,
decent
I'll
keyboard.
get it shipped to you.
keyboard, guys.
Perfect.
Once you feel a mechanical keyboard, like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, you can't go back.
So
No.
I just want to take a moment to recognize our audio editor Nick and lament his 30 extra minutes he spends a night just for Watts' keyboard.
Yeah.
Let's take a moment of silence.
Well, hopefully during this podcast, she won't be clicking to talk to chat.
I'm not clicking.
Okay, so
She keeps looking at it though. Like she's like some people are addicted to their phone, or to like texting or whatever.
fidget spinners or something
She's-
like
The
that.
sound is
She's
so
addicted-
delicious,
she's
though.
addicted to
I
touching her
used to
keyboard.
watch a stream. So League of Legends streamers, they didn't care about how stuff sounds.
They don't care about anything. They don't even acknowledge their fucking chat, Watts.
They don't eat
mean, it's
food.
true.
Okay,
So
they just play.
So all the keyboards were really loud, and I used to fall asleep watching their streams because you just hear. Oh, it's so good. Like white
so
noise.
weird.
It's amazing.
It also depends on the microphone. Like people who have dynamic microphones, it doesn't pick up as much. But people who use like Blue Yetis and stuff,
If you use a
it picks
Blue
up
Yeti,
lot
the
more.
internet's most popular microphone, yeah, it's gonna pick up a keyboard.
Yep.
I'm really enjoying the Tefty turned me onto this Sennheiser mic.
Did I tell you about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, because I gave you a 3. I was at a Guitar Center.
Oh, okay.
And you didn't say this specific model, but I texted you like 3 different ones they had there, and then you said this was the best of the 3, and whatever they had, it's a Sennheiser.
It's a
good. Yeah.
dynamic mic, so it's
835E or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
and it's
Those are classics.
I mean, honestly, my voice sounds so much better. Like when I hear the recordings, if I go back to the Blue microphone,
That's just
Yeti
the
days.
magic of Nick and his audio editing, and also something called voice proximity to the microphone. It's great.
It is fun to mess with dynamic mics because you get real
Yeah.
close and it really sounds like you're, whispering in
Every
your
single
ear.
radio host has one of these types of voices.
Let me tell you about something here.
Because it's the microphone.
The SM7,
not
the one
their
that Brian
actual
and I
voice.
have, are supposed to be the body design. So anybody who's actually curious about this stuff, the body design of this helps to reduce some of that proximity because
Yeah.
of the barrel design. And that's why it's popular in broadcasting. And that's why you see the other one, the RE20, that's silver or grayish, that has 0 proximity effect. So you actually can be right against the grill and it not have any kind of bass enhancement from it.
Interesting.
But because the element on the ones that you guys are using is close to the front, then it creates more proximity effect because of where the element
Yeah.
is. Because the element in this one's sitting about right here. So that.
All right, Briar, I have a question for you. How the hell are we going to make this a 1-hour podcast?
We end it right now. Thanks
No,
everybody
we're
for watching.
55 minutes
Really
recorded.
appreciate
But
it.
I mean, all I'm saying is that like we are so comfortable. Like I feel like I could talk to you guys literally all day. Like
Oh,
this is
first-
hilarious. We just
We could
pick
have
up
a 12-hour podcast.
we
Yeah,
pick
we
up a
could.
topic, and every one of us has got
24-hour
so
podcast.
interesting. Like I'm hearing Watts' like obsession
every
with
one of us.
keyboards, and I want to know more about like that. Like from a psychological level. Like I understand, hearing like for me, I lived in the desert, right, and hearing always having a fan on at night because it was so hot. And now, I mean, I live in it could be 30 degrees below zero. I'm turning a fan on.
Yeah.
You know,
My wife is like that. It drives me fucking crazy.
My whole
It's like
family
having like
does
this
that.
white noise on
Yes.
all the time
I
is so
love
annoying.
It's so I have to. I
I
cannot
love
fall
white
asleep in
noise.
silence. I can't
No,
do
me
it.
neither.
Oh.
My thoughts
My brain
and everything,
is
yes.
just my brain attacks me.
Yes, it does. It starts eating me alive. And
My favorite day of the year is the day we take, because we don't have central air in this house. We have window air conditioners. My favorite day of the year is taking those things out of the window so I don't have to listen to them anymore.
Briar, so what I did,
Oh,
this will drive you nuts. They make these white noise machines, right? And so when it's too cold and we had the baby move in with us, so I can't have the air conditioner on,
Yeah.
we have this white noise machine that we turn on,
Yeah.
and it just goes.
Yeah. My wife, when we first got Sonos, if you don't know what Sonos are, they're like little wireless speakers that you can put all around the house. She started putting rain sounds on at night, so it sounded like it was raining.
Oh,
But to me,
So
it just
good.
constantly made me have to go pee. So it's like all night long, I'm like, shit, I gotta pee, man.
That's amazing.
But here, back to our original point. How the hell are we going to make this a 1 hour podcast? Because we've designed this to be, not a 2 hour show that we do our normal thing, but, we're going to try to produce a 1 hour. So we're going to have to be better at like selecting our topics or just
I don't know. It felt pretty good to me.
Yeah,
No,
it felt
I
good to
do.
me.
I
We
feel
still
like-
got time. We're only 57 minutes in the recording, and we dicked around for
3
about
minutes.
5 minutes on the recording. So we're only at like 52 minutes. We got 8 more minutes of complete bullshit to talk about.
Anyway,
Well, I think that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure we just talked about rain sounds and,
yeah.
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 I like, to me, this podcast, it can be about all the stuff that we don't really have time to talk about on DCP main, right? It's like,
and then we always reference
like we
it
could talk
back to
about Monster
Destiny,
Hunter.
right?
We could talk about stuff
Right.
that we're really passionate about. We could talk about anything.
You still won't let me talk
And-
about magic.
Well, that's because we're not passionate about it.
No, we can't talk about that.
because we don't want to lose people. Like people will just like destroy
People
whatever
just turn
device.
off.
Like the
they're
other
looking-
four hosts.
We're gonna get sued for all the devices that people throw out the window of their cars because we keep talking about magic. So we don't want to be sued.
I'd prefer not to be in a legal
Solid
battle.
reasoning.
Yeah. I mean, you made us destroy. I imagine that person that destroys their vehicle because they've been listening to the podcast in their vehicle, and we keep talking about magic, and they just go like,
They look down, see what episode it is, in disdain, and then hit somebody. You don't want that. That's awful.
we can't do that, Patrick.
They're
I'm
like,
sorry.
wait, is this a magic podcast? I thought this a boom.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Smash. Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't have that kind of conscious Wayne heavy.
No, I feel
We
like
still
we
got to
have an
name the show,
obligation.
too. Like, what are we
Yeah.
going to name this thing?
Well,
I have no idea.
four beards and there was somebody that suggested
Four beards and Patrick.
It was 4 beards and a girl, but that was a little.
That just implied something about your husband. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
interesting. All right. What are some of the things that you guys?
The Drinks and Snakes one I thought was funny.
Yeah.
The Planet Community podcast I thought was hilarious, but it's not going to be it.
The planet community. I love that. I love the idea. If it wasn't for we would get sued for name infringement or something, copyright. Guardians of the Galaxy was interesting.
Yeah.
I know that's taken by conceptually
A little
but
bit.
We're Guardians,
Right.
and we're talking about everything else in the galaxy, right? I love the idea.
Yeah. I'd like to have something that's not necessarily Destiny.
No, we would call
branded.
it Guardians in the Galaxy. It's completely different.
Oh, yeah.
But the same.
Totally. Everybody's going to think we're a Guardians of the Galaxy movie podcast.
Yeah, right.
They are, yeah, they're going to think we're, yeah.
Yeah, so there's After Hours.
That's already taken.
That's definitely
It
gotta
is?
be taken.
Okay.
Fucking
Has
that's
to be.
taken.
It also sounds like something from like those HBO like softcore porn things that are late at night. Destiny.
It describes
After
us pretty
Hours.
well.
That are after hours.
After Hours.
Free for All was another one that was suggested. Off Topic was suggested.
Off topic's taken.
The Pivot Podcast.
Pivot, I thought was pretty good, actually.
I don't get it.
Because we're pivoting away
We're
from
pivoting,
Destiny.
yeah.
We're
Or
pivoting into other things.
Pivoting from subject to subject.
The Food, Poop, and whatever the fuck is a story from
I
Holtzman
hear
podcast.
podcasts with the expletives in the title and also poop in the title
Poop in the
are
podcast.
really good for branding. I love it.
It's certainly the most
that's a great
accurate one we've had so far.
I love that one. Black Viper, you're a genius. The food, poop, and WTF story from Holtzman podcast. Perfect.
There you go.
That's the name. Just kidding.
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
People's Gaming podcast. Talking Mismash. Drinking Snake was good.
Drinking Snake, man.
Meta Makers, Meta Breakers, Twitch Community Podcast,
People be
Gamer
very
Community
confused.
Radio.
Oh, I don't want to have community in the title because it's basically just going to be us on this, right? We're not going to be bringing other people from the community, and this is at request of people wanting to hear us bullshit
Yeah, it's
about
just us.
stuff. Just us. There we go. That's the title.
Just
Just us.
us. Just the five
Just
of us. So,
Just the five of us.
yes, and then we can rip
We
that
can
song
make
and use it as an
if
intro.
try. Just
don't know
the
that song.
five of us. You don't.
You and I.
You and
There you go.
No.
You guys want to do that?
It says
Just
just the
us.
two of us. Is what
But
the
I know. But
original song
do you guys want to do just the five of us, or just
No, just
us?
us.
I don't think I
Just
want
us?
to commit to a name on the podcast just yet.
Okay, so we're rolling with just us.
DCP, just us.
Yeah.
What do they say in the industry? Tefty. It's
I'd
like a
much
working
rather
title.
have DCP Drinking Snake.
Drinking Snake.
See, that's like a, but that's like not.
Maybe is that
brandable.
like a wine podcast? Or just talk about
Yeah, it's like drinking Snake, and then it's also. I mean, I get it's an inside joke to people that have watched it before, but it's someone that doesn't. I mean, I don't know, at the same time, it's also a little more enticing. Drinking Snake.
What
podcast.
about
The fuck's this
DCP, the Tangent podcast? Tangent.
No.
I don't think we're gonna be able to decide this right now.
I think we need more suggestions from the community too.
Yeah, suggest it, guys. Now that people have heard it and they have a better idea
How about we
of what
each
this
call
thing
it
actually is.
whatever the hell we want to. We just stick with
Yeah,
that.
that's great for branding.
Yeah.
Good job, Patrick.
That's a plus for branding. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some great selections.
know.
There's some great comments. There's a thread on Twitter. There's a thread on Patreon. Jump in there. You're going to help us name it. We won't come up with a name right away, and something will fit right. Something will feel right, and we're just going to
definitely.
go with it from there. Maybe we thematically name it. This one I suggest the Monster Hunter podcast, because for like an hour we talked about Monster Hunter.
Sure.
That's an exaggeration.
I don't think so.
It was like 20,
wasn't an hour.
30
We
minutes.
talked about it for 10
50 minutes
actually.
max.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I'm just saying.
We started
No, I-
talking
I-
about
It's
I
this
love the
literally what
conversation.
we've all been thinking about for like the last
know.
month. So.
Yeah, we've been playing a lot. I actually looked. It was around the 20-minute mark, roughly. We started talking about it. It was about 10
It wasn't
minutes.
that long.
Yeah.
I like the DCP free for all.
Free for all isn't bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, keep your suggestions coming. We'll create a list and then put it out there. We just first of all want to thank you for even listening to us ramble on for an hour about random stuff.
Seriously.
And for those of you who are jumping in and supporting us on Patreon, we can't thank you enough. It's making this available to us. And if you're not sure what I mean by that, we have, up until this point, for 3 years now, we have been out of our pockets paying for audio editing, hosting of the site, any video editing we have, the illustrations, all that stuff. And we happily did it because we were wanting to see this thing grow. And at this point, we're all committed to it. And I think it's been such a great experience that we just really kept getting inundated by people saying, "Hey, we want to support you." So really, honestly, 100% came from the community wanting to support us, and they have. I mean, right now,
Massively.
Yeah.
it's just massive. Right now,
It's mind blowing.
we're looking at like over 138 patrons, man, that have made it possible for us to get these extra, to improve our quality and get unlimited uploads to our SoundCloud and to our audio files so that we can start putting up videos and make those available. So
have a
everything,
SoundCloud?
everything costs money, and we're in a position now where we can give back to you at a higher quality because of
And
them.
head for world domination.
We're gonna dominate.
DCP, World Domination. That's the podcast.
That's my vote.
I like this.
That's my vote.
I like this.
DCP
World
World
Domination.
Domination.
The World Domination Podcast.
They know where, or at least they know where we're trying to go.
That's subtle though. It's a little too subtle, maybe.
You don't think
DCP World Domination.
It's pretty
think-
broad. It fits a lot of
mean-
subjects.
Let us know if you like that. I mean,
The
honestly.
world dominating.
But I'm gonna have to get past this feeling like I want to sit here and talk to you guys
Yeah.
because it's got to be sustainable, and I don't want you guys to be, on here for 2-3 hours on a Saturday when you have families and stuff to do. So yeah,
So,
how do we end this
thanks
thing?
for watching and listening,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
There you go.
guys.
Teffy's, I think Teffy's
This was
heading
a
in
lot
the
of
right
fun.
direction
This
here.
is, this is perfect because we don't get to really explode with all the other stuff that we're playing and experiencing
Yeah.
on the main podcast. This is a place where we can just blurt it all out and just talk about all this other stuff that's going
Yeah.
on.
Works
that
out
we're
really
enjoying.
well.
Feels really good.
Yeah. Are we actually going to do sign-offs too? Or because I think... Do we
Yeah,
need to?
no, I don't think we need to.
I don't think we need
Yeah, I
to.
don't think we
I,
need
You can
to.
find us.
I'm Pope Bear. That's Briar, and that's Tefty, and that's
Miss
Patrick,
5000
and that's Miss
Watts. Hi,
5000
guys.
Watts, and we're the same people. We've been here for years.
And we're the DCP World Domination Podcast.
wait, everybody's got to get
We
really
didn't
close
agree
to
to
their mic
this.
and say it. World domination.
Oh, you'd be like,
agree to this.
DCP World Domination.
That is it right there. We need that.
I like it. I really do like it.
Yeah, so we're gonna post this up so that people will get a podcast on Friday, and they'll get a podcast on like Tuesday. So it's gonna be like a Monday or Tuesday. So they'll be able to listen to us.
So if they listen to
Throughout the
this right
week.
now, it's a Tuesday. If they're first...
Maybe.
Probably. I think I said I'm gonna put it up on Mondays, but I'm gonna maybe bump it to Tuesdays so that we have content that is on the other half of the week.
All right. Well,
I like it.
thanks for listening,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Like, can we drag the sign off a little longer?
Nope.
No,
I mean,
that's
No,
it. That's
I'm
it.
hitting the stop
Now.
record
Can we
button
get
right
can
now.
we get some
Stop the recording
some clicking
right
of the keyboard to massage my
Stopping
ears?
right
Yeah, that's good.
now.
That's good. Me too.